My mother passed away from ovarian cancer in 2019. And so when I was diagnosed, then I thought to myself, why not be vocal about this? Probably more than a couple handfuls of women tell me that they caught cancer because they went to do something after hearing my story. It was one of the greatest blessings that has happened in my life, was getting this cancer diagnosis. As weird as it is, I wouldn't trade it for the world that it happened to me.
Welcome back to another episode of the Chats with Clark podcast. I'm your host, Joe Clark, and here at Chats with Clark, we don't do poppy intros. We get straight to the point. And the point of today's episode, episode 76, is Natalie Herbick, the renowned host of New Day Cleveland and a staple news anchor of Fox 8 Cleveland, who over the last few years has committed advocacy to early cancer detection and someone who bleeds Cleveland and radiates goodness. Natalie Herbick, thanks for being here.
Thank you. What a sweet introduction. Thank you so much.
I'm thrilled to have you.
It's an honor to be with you.
Well, thank you. My first question for you, Natalie, is simply, what is the best thing that there is to know about you?
Oh, gosh. About me. I really try to just keep it real. I really feel like in the business, in the world that I'm in, I'm a people pleaser. I'm one of those people that gets sad if I'm like, oh, people don't like me. What I've come to realize is just what you get from me, no matter when you see me, is who I am. And if, I guess, love or hate it in a way, right? It is, I try to be authentically myself in all things that I do.
In a world that's so focused on production, your world is so focused on the production, how rare is that to find someone who's truly authentic and putting that out there?
You know, I feel very blessed that I work at this station, because I feel like we're in a station with a lot of people that truly care about each other. We really feel that we are family here. I don't think you find that in certain markets, especially larger markets where things get more cutthroat and people are, I mean, this is definitely a competitive industry. And I think that depending on what city you're in, what environment you're in, I was taught at a young age to keep my distance from my coworkers because they could turn their back on you in an instant. I did that a little bit at first, and then I caved because that's just not who I am. Yeah. And I've been very blessed to be here, because I do think that I wouldn't trade being here for the world, because I do think in other places it's not the same. So you definitely have some personalities, big egos. I'm like, look, we're local TV, and no matter where you go in this country, it's local TV. We're not celebrities. I hate that term in the sense of we're not. We're just the average people who happen to just are grateful to provide you news and information you need on a daily basis. So
you get a camera in your face, and all of a sudden people start, right? Like it starts influencing that a little bit because it is displayed for everyone to see.
Sure.
And when you're the beacon of that, I think it almost does inflate the ego.
Sure. I think it definitely happens. And I have always, I think maybe to a detriment, I remember when I first started working here, people would say, you're too self-deprecating. You need to stop. You know, if someone gives you a compliment, just say thank you. Don't say, oh, thanks, but my hair looks really terrible today too. I always say a thank you with a but, something about myself. Yes. So I think I was so overly worried about people thinking that I was that kind of person that I end up going sometimes exact opposite way. And I don't maybe seem like, I don't know, I would say that maybe I can come off as sometimes not having as much confidence as I should, but it's just the way I operate, I guess. I don't want people to feel like I have a big head, because trust me, I'll be the first person to pick on myself before anybody else will, trust me.
There's a great humility in that. Tapping into the confidence piece a little bit, Natalie, you mentioned the competitiveness of this field.
Yeah.
How did you know early on that you would be successful in it?
Well, the interesting thing was I went to school. When I went to college, I didn't know what I was doing. It wasn't until my senior year of college, last semester, that I did an internship in the news business. I grew up in Pittsburgh. I born and raised
right over your head. So,
but I've been here 13 years now, and this is home. But I worked at a TV station in Pittsburgh, and it was like something clicked in me where when I was doing this internship, I worked on a show that was similar to New Day Cleveland, and I had always wanted I had aspirations to be an actress. And I was like, this is a way of presenting yourself in a certain way for sure. You can't just go up there and be, hanging out. Presenting yourself, but at the same time, you get to be more you and you're not a character. And I thought this is the perfect marriage of kind of what I wanted to do that was comfortable for me. And I just very early on tried to just be myself as much as I could through that process. And I felt good in that. And no one ever came to me and said, we don't like what you're doing. So I just stuck with that. And I just felt such a peace and ease with it that just made me feel like home. I mean, I've never not felt, I've been in the industry now for, oh gosh, I'm going to date myself, but 13 years here, so I'm like 18 and a half years. And I've just never not felt like this was home. So I don't know. It just was a fit that I never saw coming, but I'm still to this day so grateful for.
It's fascinating though, because to some degree, I think you did see it coming based upon whatever skills and talents you were innately recognizing in yourself to say, I want to be an actress, right? There's like a lot of that is about the performance and knowing that you have the skills to influence people, to interact with people in a way that's effective so that they go out and are like, oh, I appreciated that.
That's true. That's right. And when I was really young, I wanted to be a doctor.
Okay.
I wanted to help people. I said, I'm going to help. For Christmas, the one year I got my stethoscope, my whole doctor kit. And the older I actually got a scholarship for college to do a physician's assistant program at Duquesne was the college. And I turned that down and I realized I can't go through all the schooling and I can't stand blood. So then I really got into acting classes in college and I fell in love with it. So it almost like that all came together. I feel like I'm helping people in a way by hopefully brightening their days, sharing with them what's going on in the community, and also performing in a way of being on a stage and getting to, have the lights, camera, action, and yet at the same time trying to be myself in the midst of all of it. So
how did you navigate then, Natalie, being yourself, coming from Pittsburgh to quite literally the opposite Cleveland, not literally the opposite, but I guess, right, that rival city.
Yes.
How was that navigation process for you, both leaving home and then also navigating into a new place? I know there was Steubenville in the mix, right? But
yes.
But call it Cleveland.
Well, I actually lived back in Pittsburgh the whole time I worked in Steubenville, too.
Amazing.
So moving here was the first time I left home, really. And my parents they were going through a divorce, and it was a really difficult time in our lives. And so I not only felt like I was leaving home for the first time, but I felt like I was leaving my mom who really needed me. So it was really difficult for me to transition here. And then when I first came here, one of the first things, which they then took it down a bit, which I'm grateful for, that came up a lot, that she's from Pittsburgh. She's not Cleveland's own technically. And I remember reading comments on social media at the time in the beginning, and I was like, man, people are never going to get over this. And I get it. There's that rivalry, and it's a fun rivalry. And I'm glad there's that rivalry, because the people in both cities are very similar. Totally. That's why when I came here, I felt at home right away. But I was really nervous that I was never going to be accepted in this town because of that. And so I would downplay it a lot in the beginning and never wanted to bring up that I was from Pittsburgh. But over the years, in true fashion, because these people are, Cleveland is a loyal community, and I have felt that loyalty now. And I always say I feel like I've been adopted, and I'm adopted to this town. It's home. And I'm so grateful. I mean, these people in this town, when I've gone through some really big things in my life, they have been there for me. And I know I'm getting emotional thinking about it, but that has meant the world to me. And I never had that in my hometown. So this is family here now. Everybody, not just my Fox 8 family, but this city has really become my family. And I'm so grateful for that. Okay.
To your point. Yeah, it's okay. To your point, and thank you for sharing that too, Natalie. To your point, the people here, I think, have each other's back, right? Whether it's from the sports that they're diehard forward to, that's the people. It's the people representing the people. That's what I think is the most impressive feat of Cleveland. There's so much greatness going on, but the greatest part of the people supporting one another.
Yes.
And kind of to that end, that's what I think is like enamors me about what you do in New Day Cleveland, because you're passionate in essence about supporting small businesses and putting them on a pedestal, at least for that segment of like, this is the world, right? Like right now you're the world and you're supporting that. How did you decide that was work that you wanted to do? And why are you so passionate about that?
Well, I will forever be grateful to a man named Kevin Salyers. Kevin used to be vice president of programming and promotions here. Kevin found me when I was working in Steubenville. And I was hosting, thankfully, he saw this. I was hosting Jamboree in the Hills. It was this outdoor country concert, and I was interviewing country artists, talking with fans. He was looking for someone to fill that role here and sent me an email because he found me. I would have never known this job existed. I would have never known, I would have never thought to come to Cleveland. There was nothing against Cleveland. I just hadn't thought about it. And I got an email from him, and it was like a dream job written on paper. And I thought, this is fake. There's no way this can be real. There's no way these people are reaching out to me. I didn't even apply for this. And then my contract happened to be coming up. It was perfect timing. And I know it was God's plan. And when I realized what I could be doing in supporting the local community, again, it brings me back to, I just want to help. I've always wanted to just help people. I was like, this is a dream job. And it would have taken, in my opinion, a dream job for me to leave my family, because I'm very family oriented. But I was like, I have to take this chance. I will regret it for the rest of my life. And from the moment I stepped into these studios and started doing segments and felt the response from the guests and the community, not only the guests thanking us for just bringing more business to them, but the community was saying, hey, thank you so much for giving us something lighthearted to be able to care about, and also to get us to places we haven't been to that are right in our backyard. It's a dream job. It really is. And so I'm so glad I took that. I don't even want to say a risk, because it was a no-brainer. I would have been stupid to not take it. And I thank Kevin again for that.
It is amazing how that all panned out.
It was wild.
Right? Like those dots, just seeing the way that they connected in that pathway that was laid out for you as the timing, right? That's divine timing that
Yes.
you can't make up.
No. And for that, again, I knew this was what I was meant to do. And it would take something major for me to ever leave the city now. I mean, I moved here and I thought I was going to be here for a contract. I didn't know much about Cleveland. So I'll go for a contract and then maybe take the next step on, go to a larger market. That was 13 years ago. So I'm here.
Throughout those 13 years, Natalie, what do you think's been the biggest lesson that you've learned from interacting with all these small businesses and small business owners?
Oh, gosh. I would say that the city is so incredibly supportive of each other, and that sometimes we just need, doing what I feel like can be a very small thing for someone, which someone says, hey, can I come on the show? We have we're just starting out. We would love to promote our, whether it's a product or whether it's an event they're doing. For me, it's pretty easy for me to make it happen. So it seems small to me. But what I've learned is, gosh, and it's so rewarding, is that it means so much to someone else. And so I just think it's a reminder to everyone to, just because you might think something's little doesn't mean someone else, doesn't mean it doesn't impact someone else on a larger level. And make an impact on someone's life. Do the nice little things for them. Do whatever. It doesn't hurt us to be kind to people. And I think that's just a reminder with this job, with everything I've done, is it doesn't take much to be kind, and kindness truly goes such a long way.
It does. It's so important. I feel like in a world that's becoming increasingly, super connected, but also not connected at the same time, that real, genuine appreciation for another person and that validation of their humanity is so important.
Yes.
I feel like now, especially, well, I guess always, but now that is decreasing in our secular world.
I know. I was always raised, and still continue to say, how am I any better or different than somebody else? No matter what we all do in life, no matter how much money we all have, no matter what car we drive, we're all humans just trying to do our best, and it just, that humanity of it all, to me, is so important. I just think we all need to be supportive of each other as much as we can.
Natalie, you take that supportive aspect and you bring it even outside of New Day. You're always at fundraisers, you're always at events, you're either the MC or, like, we know that I guess by the time this comes out, you will have done an event where you're working with Market Garden, being a guest bartender for Crush 'Em for Cancer. Why then do you take it even beyond that? Like, your whole life seemingly is a lot of you giving to other people.
I, again, feel very blessed to have a podium to stand on to get more of a message out. And so the fact that people, I'm still to this day just always flabbergasted by people saying, "Hey, we really want you to MC this. We really want you to be a part of this." I'm like, it's just me. What really? But I am grateful that they care enough to ask me and that they feel like I'd be a good person to lead conversations in these events that I go to, or to just show up and have my presence be of help to them. And so I'm definitely a yes woman often, and there's very few things that I liked that I've turned down, and it's probably only because logistically it can't work for me, because there's such a greater purpose to what I do, and it's not just about interviewing people. It's about helping people, and I have become so passionate about really trying to help with, I mean, once you're touched by something, I think that is devastating in your own life. I shouldn't even say that, because I feel like I've always been like that. I've always wanted to just help. And if someone is coming to me asking me for, I don't want to say a favor, but asking for my presence, these causes are all amazing. I've never met a cause that I haven't been blown away by or wanted to support. So if I can give of my time, it's worth it to me. I don't have little kids that I'm taking care of in my life right now. I think family first with me always. And so if I did have that, I would probably have to be a little bit better about how I situated things, but I don't have that right now. So I look at everybody else as my family. I'm going to help them. I'm going to be there for them. Whenever you need me, I'm going to do it.
It does. Life comes in seasons, right?
Yes.
And if that's not the season, and that the family is not the season that you're in right now with the little kids. The season that you're in is expanding that family throughout this
Yes.
opportunity. I also think that, which you alluded to, people who have these causes are real impassioned and real fired up about them. And I think that's infectious, right?
It is.
You buy into that when people come, and you
Absolutely.
can feel that just energy. Outside of that, when you're not saying yes to something, what replenishes you? What refuels you? Because you're on all the time, and that's
this is going to get really one of my favorite things to do, should not say this first, but is to veg out on TV and watch Bravo TV shows. I don't the fact that you have to put little brain power into it and you can just sit and unwind. I love it. But what I do love is, again, spending time with the people I love. I don't have to be spending money to do it. I just want to be around them. And so my dog also means the world to me. My dog is my little angel. And spending time with him, being in nature. I love getting out and just walking. That's why I love this time of year, when the warmer months are here.
Thank God.
And you can just just getting out in nature, I think, is so healing to me too. So I love that, but more than anything, it's being around the people who I genuinely just care about. Blood family and my extended family, people, just my dear friends too.
I think a lot of times people know one or the other. They know, all right, this is what I really like doing for work, or that I really like doing this for, again, that refueling aspect, almost like the entertainment aspect. But I think a lot of times they're missing one or the other. And so I think it's fascinating to hear what people like on both ends and what works for them, because how many people are running the rat race one way or the other, either not doing anything or doing so much of everything.
Yes.
And it's like, there's no balance here. We need a little bit of both.
I still feel like I'm trying to find a little bit more balance in my life. The other thing I love to do is go to restaurants and find new restaurants or ones that I love that are my tried and trues. I get a high from going out to have a good meal somewhere. I enjoy that so much. And I'd go by myself if I have to. I mean, but I enjoy, if I have great company, that's a bonus. But that's another thing that just fuels me. I don't know what it is about food. I know everyone, we all love food, right? But there's something about it that just excites me in a way that's just, I can't explain.
Especially, I do agree with you. Like, when it's something that you totally love, you go there, you enjoy, you're like, I know this is gonna be great. Or when it's a new place, there's that curiosity that comes in. You're like, is this gonna be good? I don't even know what's about to happen right now.
And we have so many great chefs around here. And we're so blessed in this city to have a great food scene. And so that's another, I think, just awesome aspect of Cleveland too.
The melting pot's real, for sure. Natalie, switching gears a little bit, another point of curiosity for me that came probably as a surprise to you was back in, I think, early 2022, right? January of 22, you received a difficult diagnosis in your life. You open to this?
Yeah.
You received a difficult diagnosis in your life regarding a cancer diagnosis. How did that shape you, and how were you able to navigate through that difficult time?
So you're right. In 2022, January, it's like 3 years now. I was diagnosed with early stage breast cancer. And I'm not getting emotional because of that. I'm getting emotional because anytime I talk about my mom, I get really emotional. My mother passed away from ovarian cancer in 2019. And my mother was one of the most amazing women that I wouldn't have traded her for the world, but to watch her go through years of suffering was horrific. And I was there by her side. I would go home on the weekends, every weekend back to Pittsburgh to be with her. She was actually getting treatment up here at the Cleveland Clinic. And so we made it so that I could still have my job and be there for her. I have two siblings too. My sister was very hands-on with all the two. I love my brother as well, but he had a lot with his job going on. My sister quit her job to be there for my mom. And so we we witnessed someone who was the greatest figure in our life go through what she went through, and with such dignity and strength that when she passed, I always said her greatest lesson that she ever taught us was how she handled those last few years of her life. It wasn't through words, it was through actions. And so when I was diagnosed, first of all, I knew I had my mom up there watching out for me. I was like, I'm going to be okay. But it also was like, I watched her go through all this. Darn right, I'm going to be able to do this. And I'm going to kick this thing's butt. And it's not, I was very grateful. I always knew that my mom, in passing from this, was going to save my life. And I didn't kind of know how or why, but I was so adamant about staying on top of any screening I could get, any like, blood work, whatever I could do. I've always been that way then since her. And I caught my cancer so early because of that. And then I thought to myself, why not be vocal about this? I have a platform. And I know a lot of women or men who get diagnosed with cancer. Everyone has their own way of dealing with the process and grieving through it and being afraid and with all the emotions you go through. I am comfortable with talking about it because I feel like, again, I can help other people. And so I was very vocal about it from the beginning. It was almost therapeutic for me, I think, too, to just talk about it, because I think my fear, when the fears kicked in, if I just talked about it more, it helped me. And so I just right away was open about it. And the feedback that I received from women was mind blowing. I mean, I have had probably more than a couple handfuls of women tell me that they caught cancer because they went to do something after hearing my story. That in itself was worth telling people. But also just them understanding of other screenings they could do, different tests they could get done. I had so much, and then just people just saying, hey, I've been through it too. Like, we're in this family together. And it was one of the greatest blessings that has happened in my life, was getting this cancer diagnosis. So I wouldn't, as weird as it is, I wouldn't trade it for the world that it happened to me. And I think what I thought was my mission in life, to be a part of the show and help people and connect people, there was an even higher mission, and that was to be able to be an advocate and do as much as I can and put the word out there as much as I can, so that hopefully others can catch things early too. Because I mean, it's unfortunately inevitable for so many people. We live in a world now where I think the odds, I don't want to, specifically breast cancer, I think is 1 in 8. But I think it was a statistic that I was at an event not long ago, that they said it's 1 in 2 will get some kind of cancer in their lifetime. So if we can just catch this all early, so that's why I'm such an advocate about it. And I feel like I have to speak about it.
It's fascinating to me too that it was so tied to home, right? You have gone on about how your family has been so important to you, and like your family first, and of course the person that you love the most has been had to grapple with that.
Mhm.
Sounds like did so beautifully, and to your siblings' credit as well, and to your credit, like that you were there for her. And then also, I think it's interesting that it's, with how common cancer is, it's still a topic that's almost taboo. And I think it's because of the depths of outcome. I mean, we all know
Sure.
that the outcome can be quite grave, like
Yes.
you have experienced, and then the breadth of it, like
Yeah.
people don't want to talk about it. So I almost think people don't
Oh,
talk
you
about
hear
it.
that word? It's true. You hear that word?
Yeah.
And and so many people I have come to find. I mean, I have family members even too that'll say they put things off because they don't want to hear that potential news. And I am just, I mean, I annoy everyone in my life. I'm like, listen, you got to do it now. So you wait a year, 2, 3 years, and the outcome's very different. So, you know, I'm sure I can get annoying at times to people that I love and beyond. But I've seen firsthand what can happen. I mean, I'm healthy. I'm living a healthier life than I ever have. And yeah, just think it's so important for people to discuss it. Oftentimes we don't want to talk about the things that we're fearful of the most, but it needs to be addressed. People need to realize the odds they're out there, and they need to take care of themselves.
As opposed to taking that ostrich in the sand approach, which again is very common, I think, with dealing with a cancer, or
Sure.
just even not even going if you're dealing with a cancer. What would be your piece of advice to people then, if you could give one standout piece of advice to someone right now who does not know that they had cancer, but maybe should take the initiative to find out?
I know there are guidelines on when you should get certain screenings. Breast cancer, I think, is 40. Colonoscopy is now 45. It used to be 50. And some doctors would probably want to smack me for this, but I think you should find every excuse to get whatever screening you can get it as early as you can get it. I mean, kids, there's 20-year-olds, people in their 20s getting colon cancer in their 20s. But we can't get a screening until 45. And I just think if you trust your gut is what I would tell someone. No matter what, if something doesn't feel right, we know our bodies, and it's that rule of 2 weeks. If something's going on for a couple of weeks and it's not going away and you feel different than you normally do, get it checked and be persistent. You have to be your biggest advocate. There are a lot of times when, with good intentions, doctors have seen so many things like, you're going to be, it's nothing, but you might be that one case where it is something. So getting second opinions is so important to do that too. But just going to the doctor annually, getting blood work done annually, the simple things. I mean, when we're younger, we put that off and act like, oh, we're healthy, we're fine.
Of course.
But it's so important to do those kinds of things because you can catch things early and your outcome is way better.
You're in the world, Natalie. How do you inform yourself on it?
Ooh,
Because there's so much information out there. So
it's
how do you-
overwhelming.
Yeah.
It's very overwhelming. And I think I can admit sometimes that I go down rabbit holes and I think I have moments of anxiety that where I'm like, well, there's so much. What should you do? What shouldn't you do? What should you put, like, what should you be eating? What are things that can fight off cancer? So what I have done is I've read a few books that have been really meaningful to me. And then on top of that, I do use social media for this too. I mean, I follow experts in not just traditional Western medicine doctors. I think there's that whole wellness world now with functional medicine that is so important, and that these specialists are studying some things that maybe traditional doctors aren't studying. And I think a marriage of the two is so important. So I listen to both. And I find a lot of, I mean, I take my 2 tablespoons of olive oil every morning now, because I've found things with studies. I do study back things.
Yeah.
I mean, and things that I know, hey, well, if it doesn't help, it didn't hurt me to do it, you know? So, but I just try to educate myself as much as possible. And David, my co-host on New Day, he's always like, what are you going to tell us now? What are you going to make us take this time? What are you going to, like, and I only recommend things that I know are safe for people to do. But, yeah, I really try to stay on top of it. I have a new book that I just ordered now recently that about fiber and how, I mean, I could go on and on. I'm such a nerd geek about this now. It's so bad. But just certain things that we could be doing that we are deficient in as Americans, especially fiber, and is one of the big things too. And protein, now that I'm getting older as a woman, I could go off on a tangent about that. Well, I'll stop.
And we'll give the little disclaimer here again. Natalie's not claiming she's an expert, but
No.
she's well researched here. Curious, Natalie, what do you think is the driving force behind cancer now, as it seemingly upticks?
Again, definitely not an expert. I mean, I've listened to experts say things.
Totally.
I find that I've heard some doctors say we really don't know why, but then I've heard others say we might not have a specific targeted thing, but there's got to be elements in the way that we live in this world today, from what we put on our body, what we're putting in our body with processed foods, what you know, the way that food is grown these days, the way that our animals are fed these days. There's definitely differences. I mean, cancer was not talked about, you know, when our grandparents and great grandparents were not as frequently. It wasn't as much of a thing. So I do think a lot of it, stress. Stress is also never good for anybody. And I know, and I do believe that I lived a decade of my life where I was very stressed and very, caught up in what my mom was going through and some other things in life. And I don't think that helped. So I know it's very easy to tell someone don't stress about things, but I think to find ways that can help de-stress as much as possible, like exercising or breath work or whatever you can, getting out of nature is important.
There's so many factors I think go into that. I also think about this, right? This is on our
Oh,
that's cyber.
yes.
This hasn't been on our
No.
on my watch, right? Like it's constant where the technology is pressing on it's so close to our skin.
Probably not one thing, but a
Yeah,
myriad of things.
absolutely. I mean, you think of the way that all of those would compile, and that could be quite a dangerous concoction there
Mhm.
for the body.
Mhm.
You alluded earlier, Natalie, just the support system that you received and how special that was to you. What struck you about it, and how have you been able to emulate that in your life for other people who have needed you in their own dire situations?
I was amazed. I knew people cared. I mean, I knew people when I put it out there that people felt from my situation, but I was amazed at the amount of letters, cards sent to me, messages on Instagram, on and Facebook, and text messages. I was blown away by people just wanting to remind me that they're there for me. And one of the biggest blessings that happened because of this then was I've unfortunately I've had close friends. I've had people who have now become my friends who have reached out and said, "Hey, I was diagnosed." I've been able to give them here's what I did. I'm not saying it's what everybody should do, and every scenario is different. There was things I went through or things I didn't go through that others, vice versa, went or didn't go through. So I can't. I don't. I know that no one person's situation is alike,
Mhm.
but with the next person. But what I found is I was able to help them with the mindset that you have to be in, and also just the little things that helped me along the way. And I mean, I've provided care packages to a couple of people in my life that like, Here's what I used, here's what I did," and it helps. Like just those little things, because I didn't really have someone to tell me, what to do when I was going through the surgery phase of things and things that would be helpful to me. And so I just thought if I can be that, little support for somebody else, that would be wonderful. And so that's what I've just tried to do. And I do have women reach out and they just want to sometimes talk on the phone, and they'll message me on Instagram and we'll end up on a phone call and we're just chatting about it. I think the support and the mental aspect is so much harder than the physical. And so just being there to support people mentally, I think is very important to me.
That's perfect because you said that was the most influential part of your journey was having people there to support you.
Hmm.
So you can kind of in turn hand that over and with some tactics that are applicable outside of just having support.
Yes. Yeah. And I'm grateful for that.
I want to read something to you.
Okay.
Okay. So throughout conversations that I've had with people that were mutually connected, and I even polled a couple of people, I'm like, hey, I want you to describe Natalie in a couple. So here are some of the words because you're beloved. So let's just start there, which is awesome. So I want to read.
That's my greatest podcast already.
Regretting it. You're not even going to see this. Here are some of the words that I've received.
Okay.
The best, resilient and radiant, great energy, so sweet, such a good friend, and one of my favorite people. So I ask you because
Sweet.
who wouldn't want all of those qualities used to describe them? So my question is, how did you emerge as one of those people?
Gosh, I don't, you know, that's really sweet of people to say that. And I'm so grateful that people think that way. I think sometimes I have to remind myself maybe of these things. I mean, I'm shocked that it's very sweet of people to care that much and say those things about me. I really just try to be me. I mean, I'm just a people first person. And I have to work on that too.
There it is. There's the kicker, right? So there's,
Yeah. I have to work on it because I think sometimes I'm more focused and worried about everyone else around me and how I can make them happy. But I think sometimes I don't fill up my cup enough sometimes. And like I've had friends, I'm saying this only because people have told me this because I don't see it. But I've had friends say you need to fill up your cup some first. But I just, it's how I'm built. I get
Mhm.
enjoyment and happiness out of seeing others happy. And so I just try to be a kind person, not let when I'm having a bad day roll into how I treat others too. I really try to not be that way.
When you're focused on the outside people, when you're focused outside of yourself, you recognize it becomes bigger than you, and then you're not so serious, right? So then all of a sudden the problems that you're facing or the bad day that you're having doesn't radiate out into others, but you're like,
Yes.
no, everyone else has their own things
Everyone
that
has
they're
their
all
own
doing.
things, their
So
own
when you can,
struggles.
yeah,
Mhm.
I think that selflessness and that recognition of other people is probably what derives all of those types of comments about you, right? So that to me would be, because if I'm someone, and I think we're all in this boat, we're like, we want to be better, right? So it's like, how do we
Always.
want to get better?
Correct.
So when you hear all these great things about someone, it's like, what can I do to emulate those things? And I think the big kicker, which I kind of was saying, is that you really have a recognition of other people and bring that out and just share your love with them, which I think is great.
Thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate that very much.
Yeah.
Means a
Everyone,
lot.
everyone was thrilled to share some nice comments about you. So that was
That means
great.
the
And I didn't even
world
leave
to
any
me.
bad ones out, which is nice. There was nothing. There were none that
She's
didn't
a
make the list. Yeah, exactly. Natalie, part of becoming who we are is based upon our influences and our situations and our circumstances. Who in your world, whether you know them or not, has been a big influence for you, and what have you taken from them?
In my career or in general?
You tell me.
Ooh. I would say, I mean, my mother, I was very blessed to have my grandmother, mother, and my great aunt who didn't have children, so she was like a second grandmother to me in my life for quite some time. I mean,
Precious.
and those three, they all had their own individual strengths, and my grandma was a sassy pants, and she would always be the one that, you can set your mind to do anything you want to do. You can be whatever you want to be. So she always gave me that confidence in that sense. And my great aunt was more humble and had a lot of humility, but yet would appreciate all of the little things in life. I mean, she would be walking on the streets and she'd pick up leaves in the fall and say, "Look how beautiful this leaf is." And we, as kids, were like, "Okay, okay." But the older I've gotten now, I find myself looking at leaves, looking at the birds, and appreciating the little things. And my mom, with her warmth and love, she was a woman of actions, not really a woman of words. She didn't teach me through words as much as was actions, her loyalty to everybody. So I really think the three of them shaped who I am. And then when it came time for this world and this job, I didn't really have anybody in my personal life that was, in this realm. Oprah Winfrey, I never, even though I say I didn't know until my senior year of college that I wanted to do this, I think back and I would watch Oprah Winfrey after school all of the time. And I would watch her interviews and be fascinated by how she was able to ask the toughest questions to people in a way that seemed appropriate, seemed respectful, and the way she connected with them. And I loved that about her. And it wasn't until I was in the business that I had a light bulb go off and say, "Oh my gosh, why didn't I think about how much Oprah impacted my life?"
Yeah.
But I was blown away by her ability to interview people and to have that human interaction that was, it didn't make it seem like such a, cold thing. It
Rigid,
was,
yeah.
yes, she was so good. Still is so good at asking all the right questions. So she was a big influence on me, and I didn't really realize it until later.
I could totally see how all four of those individuals have
Yes.
shaped you into who you are. And I think that that's something that we're blessed in our lives when we look at it, is that we have all these people who have shaped our paths, and you can look at them and pinpoint specific aspects of them that you, again, are hoping to emulate and then you do put out into the world each day. There's a poet. Have you heard of Lucas Jones at all?
I'm embarrassed to say I don't think I have.
No, it's okay. He's like an international poet receiving recognition, and I there's a poem that he put out there that it kind of sits rent free in my head frequently. And ultimately, his topics range from the afterlife and death and life and the meaning and all these sorts of things. And he puts it in a way that's just kind of open ended to people. I think it's very effective, because one of the examples has struck me that I'm going to pose to you. Ultimately, he says, we one day are going to pass over in the afterlife, whatever that actually is, right? So he says, imagine this: you wake up in the afterlife, you shake off the grogginess, you kind of look around, you're like, oh my God, I'm in the afterlife, right? Like, here we are. And all of the people who have gone before you that you have loved are there, and they're looking at you and they're like, well, the first question I ask you is, how was it? And it means, right, it's not just how was the passing, it was the whole thing that you've just done. How was it? And they go on to continue, because the guy's like, well, I don't know, the person, whatever. The guy's like, I don't know, it was all right, I guess, and they're like, what? And they're just shocked that this was just an okay experience. And they're like, well, should we have made the trees blue? Would that have caught your attention, right? If you were rich and famous, where the sunsets have been softer. And they go on this litany of saying, how did you not look at the leaves like your aunt and appreciate what was around you? So I guess the question to you, Natalie, is how, I guess not was it, but how has it been?
It's been beautiful. In my life, I never take anything for granted. Oh my gosh, why are you're really getting me here today? Jeez. I am an emotional person. I preface that, and people who watch, they know that but I'm someone who leads with emotion always. It's just who I am. But it's been beautiful. I mean, there's so many things where I could say, oh, I wish I had this or I wish I did that. But when I really look at my life, I lost my mom at a young age, and people have lost their mom much younger than me, but I was in my early 30s when it happened. And there's things that have happened to me that I wouldn't wish on anybody, but at the same time, when we have to accept the pain that comes with the beauty, that's living. So I've accepted all of the things that have not been so great because I've experienced so many wonderful things, and I never take any day for granted. And the diagnosis also really helped me to be that way. Because until you hear that word and my mind went to my mother, and that's going to be me next. And that's going to happen to me right now. You realize when you hear that, it's like everything else fades away. Everything goes silent. Nothing else matters. And you realize all the money you worked so hard for, what house you live in, what car you drive, whatever it is, none of it matters if you don't have your health. And so it's been a beautiful life. And for the most part, I've been very healthy my whole life. And that is the greatest gift of all to me. And so it's beautiful. It's been beautiful.
That is so profound. I mean, I'm touched, so thank you.
Oh.
And that's true. I mean that. And again, the crux of this podcast is all just about the mindsets and like what people do in their lives and why they do it, particularly that why piece. And so someone like you who's spent all this time really working on appreciating the world around you and taking moments that, again, are brutal. No one's going to deny that, like, that's a brutal day and it's a brutal season that you have to go through in that. But to look at it and say, I'd do it again if it taught me all of this, right? I would do it again if it showed me how beautiful the people are in my life. Not that you didn't know it, but you feel it so deeply. And I think that is, again, what people love about you. And then when you lead with emotion, people feel it, right? You love big. That's what
I do. I love big.
You love big.
I love big. And I apologize for tearing up so much during this.
And I guess, like, to our audience, that's kind of like a big encouragement, is that when you're going through everything, you know that there's going to be, you have to have the storm to have the rainbow, right? Like, there has to be the Good Friday before there's the Easter Sunday, as our Christians say with us. Like, that is such a real thing in life. That's such a reality in life, is what I'm trying to say. And so you've kind of run the gauntlet. You've seen it all. And to come out and to have such a profound mindset and approach to it, I think is so touching. So those stories speak volumes.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I'm glad I was able to articulate that in a way that made sense.
Your great aunt is real proud of you for.
Oh, I know she was. They were the best. They were the best.
Kind of on a total opposite end, in the world that you're in, there's constant criticism.
Sure.
When you put yourself.
Sure.
Did you guys feel that one? Did that feel real enough? When you're putting yourself out there, you're going to experience people who give you negative commentary all the time. What's your approach to navigating that, and how do you work through it?
I will be honest. I've had to work on it because it's that one. You could have 100 nice comments about you, and that one negative comment will live rent-free in your head. And you know what? I will say, I appreciate when I get constructive criticism. If someone is legitimate about what they're saying, I will take people's feedback and I will adjust. I'm like, you know what? That's so true. I'm gonna work on that. But when someone's mean and nasty, I have been better as I've gotten older. It has definitely taken me time to just try to let it go. It's not easy, especially with someone who is a people pleaser, to do that. But I've tried to. Here's one example of what I've done. I used to be on our tips email address here at the station. So anything that comes into the station, anyone who's on the tips email, they can see it all. I used to be on that. I said one day, take me off that thing. Because a lot of times it's not constructive criticism for any of us. I mean, the station people will just send mean, and the women unfortunately get it more so than the men. I do think over time it has died down, thankfully. But I've said, I don't need to see it. Why do I need to see that? If I can't change something and to make myself better from it, why do I even need to see that? So I really have tried to work on that, because criticism, but I think there's certain things then about my life that I've tried to, like, I do try to give so much of myself. I try to be very open about things, but I feel like I have a right to have some things that are more private then that I keep to my rule of thumb has always been if I feel like I can help other people, I'm going to be vocal about it. If something that's going on with me or the way I live my life is going to help people, then I'm going to be vocal about it. But if it's part of my life that's personal that I get to keep, it's kind of fun to have a couple of things that are just for you, you know? So
It's
that's
part
how
of
I
being
kind
human,
of
right?
find the balance in it all. And because no matter what, people are going to have an opinion. And I've come to realize that. So no matter what I do, someone's going to have something negative to say about it probably. And that's okay. Everyone's allowed to have an opinion. So I have a right to ignore the opinions that would affect me negatively.
That Italian blood in you, right? I'm sure it sparks quickly, or else we were in
Oh yes. Oh yes, you nailed that on the head. I definitely have a quick, like, the as emotional and as what fiery as Italians can be.
Yeah.
Um, it's
So your grandma
passion.
was sassy
Passion
then.
would be the word. Yeah, yeah. Passion would be the word. We're passionate. And so I think that passion flows through in everything. And so when you feel like someone's coming at you in a way that might not be fair, you get passionate about it. Yeah.
When you eventually simmer down and you maybe tap into the other parts of your heritage, I know you guys did that big segment like years ago on that.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Were you a baby then? How do you even remember we did this?
hey, listen, I had a job to do today.
That
It was
was
in
a
my
while
research.
ago.
Yeah.
That's
It was
good.
8 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you tap into other heritage parts and you simmer down a little bit
Yeah.
outside of the Italian passion, how are you able to decipher whether it's constructive criticism that you could take something from it or just people being nasty?
I always think it's someone's tone. Even if it's an email or in written form, it's someone's tone. I mean, the way I can't get over how vicious people can be. I don't understand it. But you have to remember, I think sometimes that's not you, it's them
Totally.
looking in the mirror and needing to fix something with them. Um, so I think I have to look at it that way too, that it's not necessarily me. But I do think when it's someone's tone, if they're sweet about something, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to consider that. I'll change the way I think one time someone actually was not nice to me. And I don't know why I took her criticism, but I did because she was very rude in her emails to me at first. But she was saying, her point was I was jumping into shots or talking when I wasn't on camera. And with David and I, we communicate even if one of us is not technically on camera. Well, if we have fun moments, I'll be in the background yelling something. She didn't like that. And I understood that was what she was saying. And I appreciated that. But the way she said it and how she came at me and the negative things she said about me, it was not nice.
Jeez.
So I actually emailed her back, and despite my better judgment, and we actually had a nice exchange then. And then we started emailing each other after that. We became like I wouldn't say, but like pen pals for a little bit.
Right.
And that has fizzled off. But I
With the
broke my own
senators.
rule. I broke my own rule with that one because it wasn't friendly for it. But you know what? It turned into something much better then too. So
That's interesting. Yeah, I think it's tough, right? When it's written, it's really hard to decipher the tone almost. It's a tough task. But there's so much value in the constructive criticism, no matter
Yes.
what stage we're on, right? Like
Absolutely.
the Tom Brady's of the world still get coached and so on and so forth. So it's a tough one to figure out, right? You have to
It is. Sort through it all, and be appreciative. I mean, I can appreciate passion. I get it.
Natalie, to that notion of sorting everything out and trying to sort it all and cipher through, part of navigating through what's our life happenings is recognizing that life is working out for us and that regardless of the plan and maybe how we thought it would go, it's still working out in our favor. What grounds you in that belief?
I have always felt like I've been the kind of person that let life lead me, and because great things have happened to me because of that. But what it takes sometimes someone to remind you of is the reason why life was leading me was because God was guiding me. I truly have always believed that God has a higher plan than I could ever come up with on my own. And that's how you can wrap your head around losing a parent at a younger age in life and accepting it and being like, you know what? there was a reason for it. I don't see it yet. I think it was to protect the 3 of us. I think she gave me a longer life now because of this. I think that God has a plan for us all. And so I think I've subconsciously at times, and I shouldn't be subconscious, I should be thinking about it all the time, but I think subconsciously at times I've haven't realized that God has been that force and that I've been really happy with the path that he's given me. And like, so almost so much so that I don't want to rock the boat. I don't want to try to like say, hey, I want to do this
great,
now. I'm
yeah.
doing that. Like, because I know that his plan is better than mine. And I, everything's going to work out the way it is supposed to. And that has helped and carried me through everything in life, even like the little, petty moments where you get stressed about your career and what you're doing. There's a bigger plan. And I do think that sometimes what you think is something negative that's happening to you, it can always be a wonderful door to something else. And losing a job, whatever you're going through in life that seems so horrific that you can't wrap your head around. 9 times out of 10, there's something so wonderful on the other side of that. And you just have to you have to get through that point to get to that. And
I don't know
remember.
how people do it without the faith. Because
Yeah.
like otherwise, I think if you don't have the faith, you're just going to turn bitter when the bad thing comes. Because
Mhm.
because the bad thing stinks. It's bad. We were all saying it's bad.
That's gonna happen.
But and it's going to happen. So I think you like without it. I don't know how people don't turn bitter. I think you will turn bitter without that faith piece. That this is going to that the brighter days are ahead. That this is
Yes.
going to turn around
Yes.
and emerge beautifully for me.
Yes.
I'm such a firm believer in that too. And that theme has consistently come up throughout your story and our conversations so
Mhm.
far. Natalie, we have a closing litany. Are you ready for this?
Yes.
There's 5 questions that I ask every guest.
Okay.
The
Wait, can I quickly say you are for being as young as you are in this profession, you are an amazing interviewer.
Thank you.
I was
Natalie.
never in my 20s nearly as good as what you are right now. You're very good at
Thank
this. So
you.
keep up the great work.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay.
Thanks for your time today too, because you're crushing it as everyone expected.
I don't know about that, but thank you.
I do. No,
I should have had a box of tissue. I should have had a box of tissue here. It's like a
There were
therapy
magazines
session.
here. I didn't know that. I opened it for a reason. The reason was that I needed the tissues. The first question
Okay.
is based upon something that I adamantly believe. It's that I think that people who live with gratitude on their minds and just exhibit that in their life have a better life than those who do not. No pressure now.
Okay.
You agree, so we're
Okay.
good. What role does gratitude play in your life?
Oh, everything. It's at the root of everything. If you're not grateful for what you have, I mean, I think it can be taken away from you too. And so I literally live when I wake up in the morning, I am so grateful for just being able to open my eyes, to walk, to feel good. So, I mean, I think I start every day with gratitude because of that. And sometimes I think it took something happening to me. I don't think I took advantage of that. I can admit that. I took advantage of that before. But ever since my, early stage diagnosis the gratitude is the start of my day every day.
It's so incredible to me that you could see the ripple effect once you start doing it. Your whole
Yes.
mood shifts.
Yes.
My mom, the boss, also said she always taught my sister and me like life comes in seasons, and that when you're on the high, be thankful because you never know what can come down. It can all be taken away from you. Not in like a naysaying way, but just that's the reality
It's
of it.
reality of life.
And then when you're at low, be grateful too, because you know that that's not going to last forever. You're going to come out of it on the other side with something that you did not have before, whether it's in a lesson, whether it's in an opportunity, whether it's in whatever the case may be.
Your mom raised you well.
She's
She
rocking.
knows what she's doing.
The second question, I think, ties directly into it. Do you have any regrets in your life, Natalie? And if so, what have they taught you?
That's a really good question that I probably bury and try not to think about. I mean, I could go as silly as when I was younger in high school and college, I should say. I was always so afraid to leave. And most people probably won't be able to relate to this, but I was always so afraid to leave home. I hated the idea of it. And so when I got to school, I never went and did a study abroad session. And I regret this to this day. I think you learn so much when you're traveling the world and seeing new things and seeing different cultures. And I will regret that for the rest of my life, that I didn't do that when I was younger. I'm grateful now that I've traveled a lot and I've gotten to experience things, but I think it sets you off when you're young, just on a great path. So something silly like that, deep regrets. I don't think I really have deep regrets. I think it could have been the case with my mom, where I guess I do too, in a little bit. I took the selfish route. I moved here away from my family. My mom was struggling a lot back then, and God, if she's listening, she's like, Natalie, why are you talking about this? But I moved here because I needed to do this for me. And so, do I sometimes worry that I moved here and that she got sick and that, I wasn't able to be with her every day? Yes, but I really did the best that I could. I gave so much, as much as I could. I can live at peace with the amount of effort I gave in being there for her through those years, because we all made it work as a family. And so, a little bit of that, but well, kids. I still could. I think. But I always wanted to be a mom. And I do have two amazing bonus children in my life that will forever be my children, but they have an amazing mother. So I'm that bonus mom and I love being in that role. But kids would be,
That's hard.
yeah, not do that sooner.
Yeah, that's an unfair one, I think. The internal clock that
Yeah.
is just
Yeah.
internal that no one knows.
Yeah, I went
It's a
through
total
a period of
unfair.
life where it just wouldn't have been possible for me. I think that God, again, I believe God has planned, and I think that I'm still going to do it. I think no matter what, if it's adopting a child, or I still have a little bit of time, it's a little teeny bit of time.
Yeah.
So I do think it's going to happen, but I regret that it hasn't happened sooner. But again, I think it was God's plan. So
You'll be a great mom when that day
thank
comes.
you. That's very sweet of you. Thank you.
That's on my list. I have a list of questions that, God willing, to get to when I meet God, I'm going to ask him about. That's on the list. I'm like, what's up with the internal clock?
Yeah, right.
'Cause,
God, can we work on that, please?
yeah, I know you have a reason. I don't get it. So if you could figure that out for me, that'd be great. I want to understand.
Yeah.
So if I ever get the chance to chat with him and just have a couple questions, because we're gonna sit down and have an interview, apparently, it's that's gonna be on the list. Gonna be like, what's up with this?
I appreciate you. I appreciate you thinking of us women too in that sense.
Yeah, it's definitely different, right? It's definitely
Yes.
different between the two.
Yes.
So kind of on an opposite end of that as well, but I think rooted in this notion that life is such a gift. I believe that it's so important, and in your world, your calendar is crazy, but I believe it's so important to have a calendar of, or at least things on your calendar with which you're looking forward to, or to which you're looking
So
forward
important.
to.
I
Yeah.
agree. I'm working on that still. It's so
Okay.
important.
Well, unfair then, but what is on your calendar, Natalie, that you're looking forward to?
Oh, okay. Well, work-wise, New Day Cleveland, we're doing a trip to Greece this upcoming
Heck
fall.
yeah.
So I'm going with some amazing viewers, and we're taking a cruise to Greece and Croatia. So I'm very much so looking forward to that.
Enjoy that, yes.
And I do think in more of a, on a personal level, I'm looking forward to having just this next phase of my life. I feel like for a long time, I've been very stagnant with everything I've done. My career's been great, but in my personal life, in needing to grow more. And I'm looking forward to continuing to grow and to develop into a new era, a new chapter that is, I think, going to be my best chapter yet.
Until the next one.
Until the next one.
I love that. Yeah, it's true. Every chapter is different. That's great. I love that you're excited about it. That's so nice.
Because I think when I was younger, I was worried about getting older. I'm like, oh, I don't want to be old. I don't. But there's such a blessing in being able to age and have the lines and the wrinkles and everything else. It's a blessing.
There's a story behind each one, right?
Yes,
Isn't that
yes.
a whole? Yeah, that's the truth about a scar, right? Too, anyway, that's a whole different story. But yes, there's a story behind each of the lines, and each of the chapter is written so beautifully, and we know that it's going to be great because of the faith part of it.
Yes, agreed.
It's good. My fourth question to you, Natalie: when you lay down each night to go to bed and you're reflecting on the day that you just had, what is it that you hoped to have brought to the world that day?
It sounds cliche, but I would just say to give kindness and love to people. I really have always lived by that idea. I think, and I'm going to get the quote wrong, but it's not about what you did or what you said. That's not the quote at all, but it's, to paraphrase, it's not about what you did or said to people, it's how you made them feel. It's Maya Angelou, I think, who said the quote, and you might be able to. You know what I'm talking about, though.
It is her. It is she.
I like to live my life that way because at the end of the day, when I die, I want people to remember me for how I made them feel. So I just hope, every day that I make someone feel a little bit better about their day. That's what I would probably think.
I think that's the best thing is when you are smiling with other people, right? Or like when you're laughing with other people.
Yes.
I was fortunate just to go on a trip with some great friends of mine. One of them lives across the country, and it's like, I was telling people, how's the trip? I'm like, we just laughed the whole freaking time. And it was like, that's such a gift.
It
You know,
is.
and it's to smile and to brighten each other's days.
Yeah, and it does't cost you anything.
It doesn't cost
It
anything.
doesn't cost you anything.
If people always ask me, like, why are you smiling all the time? I'm like, why are you not?
Yeah.
It goes both ways here.
I'm a good company with you. That is for sure. I'm a good company. Yes.
My last question for you, Natalie,
Okay.
is kind of turning it to you. Do you have any advice that you would tailor to a specific sector of the audience, or any kind of closing thoughts, or just to the audience abroad?
So this is where when people tell me to get up on a stage and talk to people and tell you, I always think, what do I have to offer to people that they're really going to walk away with?
Well, you've done it over
I
the
think
course of
just
conversations.
what I've learned that has helped me to be the most successful in life is to be myself. I think oftentimes people try to be something different, whether it be in relationships, whether it be in their job, whatever it is. If you can be authentically yourself, I think the goodness will continue to come to you. Now, I hope when I say that, I believe deep down everybody has a good heart, and if someone would say, well, my authentic self is, I like to be kind of, or being, I like to be straightforward and kind of crass with people, then fine. But I just think if you're yourself and you make an effort to just put your best foot forward with others in this world, then that's half the battle, and life is not easy. We have a lot of stressors, a lot of struggles, and I know that everyone is just out there trying their best. And I think having compassion when someone else makes you mad for something, they might be going through a really rough time too. And I know I'm not saying something that people haven't said a million times before, but I just think that's what I live by, is to be myself as much as I can and to lead with kindness always.
That whole idea of being you because everyone else is already taken is so accurate, because
Yes.
much like you're saying,
Everyone's already taken.
Yeah. That's another one. I don't know who said that one, but that's another one. Yeah, it is a good one. Much like you're saying, maybe the idea that you're saying isn't brand new, because a lot of people have lived this earth. That's how it goes. But it's the way that you're saying and the way that you're putting your spin on it that I think is what people can take.
Don't be afraid to. I've lived my life a lot of times not taking risks and chances because I was afraid. And fear is the outcome is, that is what I should have said. The outcome is never as scary as we make it out to be. And you can apply that to anything in life. It's the fear that we build up in our heads that stop us from doing some amazing things. So take the risks, do what you need to do for yourself, and don't be fearful, because really on the other side of fear is, I think, something really special.
That's awesome. It's so true. When I'm in that boat, I'm always kind of thinking about the people that have done some crazy things. Like, there's people that have tight-roped the Grand Canyon. I'm like, I'm worried. What am I worried about? Like, that's insanity.
Yes.
That is utter insanity. And people have done it, right? It's like going over, that's a different story. But going over Niagara Falls in the bucket and living, that's like absurd. Again. And then we're going to have fear about whatever we need to do.
I know.
Like,
agreed.
Right,
I'm terrified of heights. I would never. You couldn't pay me to do any of that.
Me too. Going down the pecking order of things we fear, ours is probably far less risky than whatever that thing is. And it's so worth taking that risk. And I think that, I'm being genuine when I say this, that approach of thinking, well, compared to other people, this is far less of a risk, is worth a consideration.
And I still have to tell myself that every day. I mean, I'm trying to practice what I preach. I'm not the best at it always, but I try that. I try to do it that way. And I hope that others do it too.
Amen. And that humility, Natalie, it radiates. So thank you.
Thank you.
I can't thank you enough for this conversation. You rocked it. Touche.
I had no idea what I was walking into. I had no idea and you've pleasantly, exceeded my expectations.
Well, thank you.
So thank you.
You're a gem. Everyone that shared those thoughts truly hit the nail on the head. And it's been an absolute honor and a pleasure to have you sit down with me on episode 76 of Chats with Clark.
76. Okay. So it sounds like a good one.
It is. It's going to be. It was already a great one. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have not hit the subscribe button, I don't know what you're waiting on. We keep delivering top tier conversations for you with guests like Natalie Herbick, who was our guest on episode 76 of Chats with Clark. All of her information will be in the description below or in the pinned comment if you're on YouTube. I'm your host, Joe Clark, signing off of episode 76. Thanks for listening.